Okay, everybody, welcome to week one of our creative presentation course. My name is Kristen Heaney, and I'm going to be your instructor for the next 4 weeks. It's going to be kind of a crazy time that you guys are starting this course and your time here at Full Sail, of course, with the holidays coming up, and we're going to experience that and make a little bit of adjustment this week for Thanksgiving. But I wanted to definitely welcome you guys, congratulate you on your major decision to start or continue or maybe restart this educational phase of your lives. It's an exciting journey. It's fast paced. It requires a lot of dedication, a lot of just sheer will to make sure that you can successfully move through this. But that's my job, to help you guys get acclimated and help you move through this very first month in our first course successfully. So a lot of tonight's information is going to be related to, policies, procedures, the platform, the FSO platform itself, just kind of, expectations, what to expect throughout the course, and then getting to know each other a little bit, as well as going over some of the content of the first week, the assignments, the content from the two textbooks that we also include, guys. So it's really kind of an overview tonight, and then weeks 2, 3, and 4 will be less information about the platform, because hopefully you've been acclimated for the last week and you're rolling right through it. So that's kind of what to expect as an overview. So just want to kind of give you a quick agenda of what you guys can expect. Our meetings are going to normally be 2 hours long. So again, as I said, this is normally the longest of the 4 sessions. So there's a lot to cover. So this is our agenda for the evening. I'll talk a little bit about why is creative presentation, of all the courses you could take, the very first one. So we'll do some introductions about myself, and then introductions from you guys who are brave enough to kind of, bust through that microphone and perhaps talk to us over the live session here. I'll talk to you a little bit about the FSO platform, especially as it pertains to our course, some policies, some procedures, some assignments that you have due this week and into next week, some of the content for week 1, and then a final wrap up. But before we kind of move through our agenda for the night, I just want to get you a little bit more familiar with our go-to training control panel. So some of you guys have already interacted with me through the chat box. I know one of my wonderful students told me earlier that he could hear me, so I'm not sure exactly who that was, but I could hear you coming through. I normally keep everyone's microphones muted just so that there's not any background noise happening. But you guys are able to, if you have the ability to use a microphone, you are able to raise a little hand. As you can see under the attendees column, you can raise your hand if you have a question, and I can interact with you over this kind of live session environment. And you can also interact with me and your classmates through that chat box that you see that there's some typing in there already. And you guys can ask me questions through that, and there's times throughout the lecture where I might ask you guys to interact and just kind of, mimic or simulate kind of a live classroom setting. These are great ways for us to connect with each other. So I definitely invite you to do that. I will say that, just kind of taking some perspective here, on my end of it, there's quite a lot going on my side. So if I happen to miss you, it's not on purpose. I'm not ignoring you. I've just got 2 screens, a full keynote presentation, trying to make sure that there's no questions. Sometimes what's going on in that chat box can be a little distracting. So if we can keep comments and questions really focused on the course and the coursework, I would greatly appreciate it, guys. So hopefully you're kind of just getting used to how everything is set up, what it looks like, and how to interact with me here in the classroom, if you want to call it that. So I just want to get you familiar with our kind of lecture platform here. So let's talk a little bit about Full Sail before we talk about why CRP. So I've been teaching here for about a year, and I found this particular image on the Full Sail Instagram account, and I wanted to incorporate it into my lectures. So it talks about the Full Sail motto: if you're serious about your dream, we'll take your dreams seriously. I have found over this last year, this is absolutely a true statement. So I think you'll find in your journey here at Full Sail that You'll encounter a lot of faculty, a lot of staff, just people that you are in contact with, building up to this point, really wanting to get you on the path to success because you're believing in yourself and you're wanting to make a success of yourself. So we're absolutely wanting to be the ones to help you across that finish line and to push you towards your goals. So I think that's going to absolutely be true. So we talked a little bit about that. So let's talk about why CRP. So CRP is short for creative presentation. And so you're probably thinking, oh, great, a speech class, everyone's favorite thing to do. But I think, and I truly believe, of course, being a communications girl myself, I highly value the skill of being able to communicate effectively, not only one-on-one, but to a group of people. You guys have amazing skills and talents and abilities and ideas. But especially those ideas, they aren't going to go very far unless you're able to communicate them effectively. And that's really what this course is all about. It's learning how to take these ideas that are swirling around in your head and presenting them in a professional format that helps move them from an idea phase to actually coming to life and being brought to life as you see it in your head. Okay, and so that's really what the whole course is all about. It most certainly won't be the last course where you make presentations. Many of your courses will include a presentation element to it. So you definitely want to get this skill under your belt and refined as you continue to move through your degree programs. And you guys, this is the wonderful thing about this particular course is that there are students going in every direction possible. So you guys are going to get to interact with each other, even though you might not be on the same path. You get to really boost each other and help each other and swap ideas, which is a wonderful thing to do, and network as well. So that's really why we start out here in the very first month with creative presentation. So a little bit about myself. That's me. Again, my name is Kristen Heaney. I'm an associate course director here at Full Sail. Again, I've been here for about a year. December 5th will be my 1-year anniversary. And that is my email, kheaney@fullsail.com. That's my office number. The extension is 3421. And I also placed a number, a Google Voice number in the platform as a preferred contact because right now I'm actually not in the office. I'm in my home office. As I mentioned before starting the live session, I just needed to go tell my two boys who are on Thanksgiving break right now to keep it down because I normally do this while they're at school. So I'm at home right now. So obviously I can't answer my office phone, but that Google Voice number that is listed within the platform comes directly into my cell phone. You can text me and you can call me at that number. I just prefer not to put it up here on the internet because I do upload this video to YouTube. So I'm a little bit more careful about that particular phone number, but you guys as my students have access to it. I just ask that you keep kind of, not as strict office hours or one of them platform, but I will say if you could keep to contacting me between the hours of 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, I would highly appreciate it. I've only had 1 or 2 instances of my phone number being called in the middle of the night, and that's usually pretty scary to get a call in the middle of the night. So if you would just be respectful enough to keep those dates and times in your head when contacting me at that number. So that's just some overview information about me, just to go into a little bit more depth. So as you can see, I'm a mom of 2 little boys. I've got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. So we are gearing up for the holiday season. They're getting very excited. And that's one of my most important jobs is to be their mom. But I'm also an educator at heart. I've mentioned that I've been teaching at Full Sail for almost a year, but I've been teaching at the college level for 4 years prior to that at 2 of the local colleges here in Orlando. I was born and raised here in Orlando, and I've never lived anywhere else. If you can imagine that, not many natives here in the Central Florida area. But prior to coming to Full Sail, I taught Introduction to Oral Communication, everyone's favorite speech class, and Interpersonal Communications, which is one of my nearest and dearest favorite courses. So I was teaching about 8 live classes per semester at 2 different colleges, juggling about 200 students, and it got chaotic. And so this wonderful opportunity through a networking opportunity came open this time last year at Full Sail, and I jumped at the chance, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride. Amazing faculty, such creativity just in every place you could imagine at this college. So I'm very happy to be here. I am a graduate of the University of Central Florida, and they are, if you guys are football fans, they're actually undefeated, and it's been a fantastic season going to their football game on Friday. I'm very excited about that. But I got a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, and I graduated in 2001. And decided I didn't want to kind of go on that political science / law school path, and decided instead to really delve into communication. So I also attended a private college in Winter Park, Florida, called Rollins College, and I have a Master of Arts in Corporate Communication and Technology. I graduated in 2003 from Rollins. So I was in the insurance industry for a bit on the corporate side, doing a lot of communications work, but just really wasn't satisfied, wasn't fulfilled, and I had this calling ever since I was very young to be a teacher, but really didn't follow that dream and that path until about 5 years ago, when I started teaching as an adjunct instructor at Seminole State and Valencia, and just really started pulling more and more courses into that, and just truly enjoyed being an educator. I just absolutely love being an educator and working with students on a day-to-day basis, either online or in the classroom. But I have kind of landed and settled here at Full Sail full-time as a faculty member. And I've been teaching CRP, which is this class, and another class called Professional Communication and Presentation for the past year. So I just want to kind of give you guys a little overview about who I am and how it is that I became, in this go-to session in front of you this evening. All right, so my contact information, I've got some oddball hours, and I know that, but I'm hoping that you can see that I've got quite a few opportunities for evening hours. So I do oftentimes teach online, and I've got a lot of students that are out on the West Coast. I am in Orlando, that is East Coast or Eastern Standard Time, but I do kind of have an oddball schedule. So you guys, again, if you're not catching me in the office, definitely find me on the Google Voice number. I'll have that cell phone on me and available to you. I just might not be right in front of my computer at certain times. But on Monday, Wednesday, I work in the office from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. and then I come home and work from home from 4 to 8, Monday and Wednesday. On Tuesdays, this will be our normal go-to session time. Today is kind of an off time because we've had some adjustments based on the Thanksgiving holiday. But on Tuesday, I'm available from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And our go-to sessions for weeks 2, 3, and 4 will actually be held from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So they're going to be a little bit earlier than we are experiencing right now. And then on Thursday and Friday, I am in the office very early in the morning. There's usually no one else around from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. And these are all Eastern Standard Time. So again, guys, these are my office hours. But, if we need to schedule something outside of these hours to work with your schedule, I'm happy to arrange that. No problem. These are, this is kind of what I use to manage my crazy world and crazy life. So you guys definitely let me know if you need something different than that. Another great way to contact me is through the FSO platform. I've done a lot of screenshots here, so you guys can kind of see what it is that for the visual learners, like I'm a visual learner, you can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So a lot of times I'll communicate with you guys first and foremost through the FSO platform, through the messages feature and the announcements feature. So I would definitely be sure to check your messages regularly, multiple times a day if you can, or set the notifications to be sure that you are getting notified via email that something is awaiting for you in the platform. Okay, and you can also send me messages directly or to your other classmates within the platform. I will say, please be sure to message me as soon as possible if something comes up, if there's a misunderstanding of some sort. I find communication to be vital and essential. So please definitely contact me in this way or through the Google Voice number as soon as possible. Okay, guys, so that's another just screenshot of what it would look like to send a message to me. You'll have messages through the feedback and also direct messages as well, and they will come in to me. It does look like a lot. I've got 3 sections of our course this month, and then the other class that I teach. But I do manage it. I try to keep track of it, and I will get back to you very promptly if it's through the Monday through Friday work week. Okay, also, guys, I'm going to ask that you go into the FSO platform, hopefully today or tomorrow, and manage your account. And I'm going to ask you guys to add your photo. And this is very helpful to me, and I think it will be helpful to your instructors as you move on through your degree program. We see a lot of names, right? Especially online, it's just a lot of names. But if you put that face with that name, it helps us get to know you a little bit better and just kind of get to know you on a more personal level, as opposed to just having a name with a blank face that's up there. So if you would, be sure to add your photo today or tomorrow. I would highly, highly appreciate that. Also, be sure to set your notifications. This might look a little bit different on your side, but the notifications will come in as an email. So when I have sent you a message in the platform or through the feedback, or you've received a grade, you will receive an alert that something has been posted into the platform. So I would suggest that you check all of these boxes so that you don't miss any vital information. Also, right here in the settings, my time zone is Eastern time. Everything that Full Sail does, all of the due dates will be the Eastern Standard Time, okay? So I'm going to say that all of the time to be sure that we're talking about the same time zone, because a lot of my students are not in the Eastern time zone. So it doesn't mean that you get an extra hour, 2 or 3 because you're a couple hours behind. So I just wanted to be sure that you have gone in here and set your own personal time zone. Okay, mine is going to be set on Eastern because that's where I'm at, but you need to go and set yours based on your own personal time zone. Why is that a big deal? Okay, so time zones, guys, I want to tell you that, again, Full Sail operates on the FSO platform. Whether you're online or whether you're in a classroom, everything is going to be submitted through FSO. And that's a really unforgiving system when it comes to due dates, right? Because it's operated by a computer, so it's very exact. So most of the time, your due dates are going to be at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? So if you're on the West Coast, your due date is actually 8:59 p.m. Pacific time, okay? It doesn't give you an extra 3 hours to get that submitted. It's going to be the exact same time for everyone. That's why your time zones are going to be essential. A lot of students, especially in the first month, are still kind of getting the hang of this and miss some of the deadlines, because that platform, I'm telling you right now, at midnight shuts right down, and you have to ask me to manually reopen the assignment. So it just takes a couple extra steps. So keep that in mind, that 11:59 p.m. Eastern time is when that platform will shut down, and that due date is final according to the platform. Doesn't mean it can't be reversed, but it might send you into a little bit of anxiety if you pass that due date and you're unable to submit your assignments, guys. So I just wanted to be very clear about that. All right, so I've been talking for about 20 minutes straight, and I'm sure you're kind of getting like, oh my gosh, this is going to go on for two hours. But I would love to get to know you guys a little bit better as well. So I would love to hear from you. Just a quick little introduction, if you're feeling brave enough to turn your microphone on and just speak to us over the microphones. If not, we could do it through the chat box as well. But I want to hear from you about a couple of things. First, tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and tell us what degree program you're entering into, and why is it that you chose that option. So again, your name, where you're from, your degree program, and why it is that you chose this particular option. So is there anyone out there that would like to open up over the microphones? I can see the hands go up if you would like to do that. I'll give it a second here. All right, and I'm hoping not to mess up any names. LaSheila, I'm coming to you. I don't see your microphone turn green. There you go. Are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for being the first volunteer. So go ahead.
Hi. Okay, my name is LaShyla Howe, but I go by Shy.
Okay,
I am going for music production, and I made this decision because I've been in music all my life, and so it's kind of what I enjoy to do. So,
that's great. And so you go by Shy.
yes,
Okay, and where are you from?
Akron, Ohio.
Akron, Ohio. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing with all of us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Marquise. Hopefully I said that right. I've just unmuted your microphone. Are you there?
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. Did I say your name right?
Yes, you did. I'm still trying to figure out this computer thing, but you did. You said it right.
Great. Wonderful. So go ahead and share with us.
So my name is Marquise. I go by Keys for short. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri,
Mhm.
and I'm in the Recording Arts Bachelor's program.
Okay.
And I chose to do that program because I love to do music. I'm a singer-songwriter for a couple celebrities and TV networks right now. So
Great.
I just want to learn how to do things on my own, So,
Awesome. You excited to get started?
oh yeah, I'm excited. It's my dream college right here.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you're here with us and you're actually making it happen. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Oscar, I am not sure if your microphone is working, but let's give it a try. Oscar.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, this is Nico.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Oscar Motapeke, and I'm from Oxnard, California,
Okay,
and I'm doing the computer animation degree
awesome. Okay.
program.
So why was that your option?
I just love visual effects, and I just want to know how to create more.
Okay.
I mess around with After Effects, Autodesk, and I just Photoshop too, and just want to combine everything together to create a scenery in the film and TV industry.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing with us, Oscar. I appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, guys. Sita, let me come to you. Sita, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, it's actually Seda, how you pronounce it.
Sita, sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I'm doing the graphic design program,
Mhm.
and I'm from Pennsylvania, but I actually moved down to Orlando, Florida in the beginning of June because I was at UCF.
Okay.
I have one more semester until I get my biology degree, but I got bored and I decided to try for an art degree. And my boyfriend actually works at Wholesale, so he talked me into it, and here I am.
Okay, so wait, so have you graduated from UCF or you've put that on hold?
I put it on hold. I just finished my finals when this started, so I'm back now. But I decided, yeah, my mom's not too happy, but yeah, so I'm doing a graphic design program now. But if I do want to go back, I only have one semester left until I get my bachelor's. So.
Right. Yeah, they can't take that away from you. What a big
Exactly.
That's great. Well, okay, so it's Seda, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing. Welcome to Orlando. Hopefully you're liking it so far.
I love it.
Good, good. Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
Okay, guys. So let's see. I've got two more. Ezekiel. Hey, Ezekiel.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, please.
My name is Ezekiel Lucas. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky right now.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. I've been doing music for like 14 years. I've been making beats and stuff, and I just want the professional business aspect of the whole thing, So it's just where I'm at, and I decided to not play with my life. Well, my education.
About it, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well, yeah. I mean, that's a huge side. The business side of the music business is complicated, and
Yeah.
definitely serious. So you're in the right place. I'm glad you're here with us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last one, Dianara. Are you there? Dianara?
Okay. Hello?
Hello. I can hear you.
Hi. Hi, I am Dianera Alibocas. I am from the Virgin Islands. I live on the island of St. Croix.
Cool.
And yeah, my degree program is digital arts and design. And the reason why I chose that is because I love design. I've always loved it from since I was little.
Great.
So I wanted to expand in it and hopefully make a career out of it.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you're here with us this month. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Okay, guys. So thank you so much. I'm getting a message from Marcella. So Marcella, let me go ahead and unmute you. Marcella, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kristen. I was having a little trouble to get in. Now I'm fine.
Good.
So, hello, guys. I'm from Brazil.
Okay.
And right now I'm doing the show production program, and I have the special schedule. So I'm doing it online, but soon I'll move to campus.
Okay.
I have already graduated in social communications here in Brazil. And while I was studying, I fell in love with events and show production. So that's why I chose to sort of focus it more.
Okay. So are you in Brazil right now?
Yes, I am.
That's awesome. Like a lot of students everywhere this month. I've never really had so many students that are just so in so many different places. So that's wonderful. So you're planning to move here to Orlando or Central Florida?
Yes, in March.
Oh,
I'll be moving.
perfect.
It's all already set.
Gotcha. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And I'm going to go ahead and mute you again, Marcella. Okay, guys. So we do need to keep moving forward. So yes, Ezekiel's right. So I've got everyone muted because there tends to be some background noise. So I kind of keep everyone muted. I would love to get to everybody, and we'll definitely have more opportunities to speak over the microphones. But I do want to keep our session moving forward. It's great to hear from you guys, and we'll definitely have opportunities for you guys to interact with each other as well, with some networking opportunities over the course of the month. So guys, I really would love to hear from you still continuing to interact within the chat box over the next couple of minutes. So we're going to talk a little bit about expectations. So I really want to talk about expectations from my side as your instructor, what I expect of you guys as my students. And then I'm going to kind of turn the tables back to you and ask you what you expect of me. And that's where I would love to see you guys continuing to participate within that chat box. So here's my expectations of my students. And I kind of lay these out. I think clarity and communication about expectations is going to be vital. So here's kind of where I lay everything out. So first and foremost, I would absolutely ask you guys to approach the class with a positive attitude and an open mind. Everyone's at a different position. Everyone's at a different path right now, and that's what makes this class so wonderful. It also can pose a little bit of a challenge. So some of you guys are like, oh, what does this have to do with my degree program? Let me get into the classes that I really want to be taking. Well, in every college, there's going to be those core classes that you just they're essential to your education, and you really must get through those and get through those successfully in order to be successful in your later classes. Okay, so have an open mind. A lot of the skills that you will learn in here will apply to almost any professional situation. Okay, so have a positive attitude and an open mind. Second, and this is a big one, ask me questions. Ask away. There are no dumb questions. There are no questions that are just so off the wall that I'm like, what in the world are you doing asking me that? Okay, ask me. I would rather you ask me and we get to the correct answer together rather than make any assumptions. But here's my little asterisk, if you will, about questions. Be sure you're asking the questions at the appropriate time. And what do I mean by that? Ask me before the due dates happen, not after the due date happens, okay? So I try to do these go-to sessions early in the week so that you guys have access to me Tuesday evening, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before moving into the weekend where your normal due dates of Sunday evenings will start to come about. I'm not always guaranteed to be interactive over the weekend. As I mentioned, 2 little boys, their schedules sometimes are, tenfold my own social schedule, and then I have my own life on top of it. So that weekend time is really a lot of times dedicated to them and kind of just regrouping as a family. I do try to check in as best I can, but knowing that my office hours are dedicated to you guys throughout the week, please keep that in mind. The appropriate time to ask the question is well before the due date, not waiting to the last minute, scrambling for an answer, getting frustrated because you can't get me immediately on the phone. That's going to cause for just a lot of anxiety and stress and probably some headbutting, if you will. And I really want to avoid that. So I am here to answer your questions. Just be sure you're asking those questions at the appropriate time. Number 3 is take action in your education. So you guys are kind of in an interesting situation because you're online students. So a lot of times, I'm not seeing you. I'm not seeing you in class with your body language or able to just pop up to me at the end of class in person. So I can't see you and I can't kind of gauge through that intuition that something's up. I can't do that. So I'm going to ask you guys to take it upon yourselves to be very proactive in the way that you're approaching your education. And that might mean that you have to reach out on your own to all of these resources that you have available to you. But if you kind of go quiet and I don't know what's going on and you're not answering my communication attempts, there's not much that I can do about that. I'm not going to come show up at your door. Full Sail isn't providing me plane tickets all around the world to check up on you guys. So I am going to rely on you to let me know what's going on, to let me know that you're frustrated, or to let me know that there's some extenuating circumstance happening, or you don't understand the assignment, or you're elated by the class, or something like that, guys. Just let me know what's going on with you. I'd rather know and try to handle it than, a week after the course has ended and you're like, oh, I should have reached out to you, weeks ago, but I didn't. Okay. Especially with communication today, it's pretty much at our fingertips at all points. So there is that expectation that you guys are showing up and you guys are being the ones that are proactive and really steering this whole ship of your education. Also, you get out of this experience what you put into it. Again, show up every single week, bring your best attitude, bring your best work, show me and your classmates just how capable you are. You're here for a reason. You're putting your time, your blood, your sweat, your tears, your money into your education. And it doesn't come easily, right? If it was easy, everyone would do it. But you've got to show up each and every week, time after time after time again. I also expect you guys to really listen and listen without barriers. Listen to me with my feedback. I'm going to give you a lot of constructive feedback throughout the month. There's also going to be feedback happening from your peers. And a lot of people don't like feedback. They think it is a negative experience. And honestly, if you open up a little bit and you're receptive to constructive feedback, it is the only thing out there that helps you move to the next level. All right. So you need to be sure that you are open to feedback because that's my goal. My goal is to help you grow each and every week with this skill because your success is my success. When you guys are improving and doing something that you thought you never could have done yesterday and 4 weeks from now, you've created this dynamic presentation. That's growth. That's wonderful. That makes me successful as an instructor to see that you are succeeding as a student. Okay. I will always give you positive, constructive feedback. Sometimes it might be that you might need to shift and move in a different direction, but it's only there to help you grow. Lastly, my expectation is that you have a lot of respect for the creative diversity that is surrounding you. Okay, so there's people coming from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, going into different degree programs, dealing with different circumstances. But I will tell you in this last very quick year that I have never met more creative people in my life. Okay, so there's creativity that's surrounding you every which way that you go within their classes, your instructors, the staff that you talk to, liaisons that you talk to. So be sure that you have a lot of respect for that creative diversity. Okay, so want to kind of move on here and turn the tables onto you guys. And I want to ask you, what are you expecting of me as your instructor? Okay, so I'm not going to do this over the microphones. I'm actually going to do this through the chat box. So take a moment and think about your own expectations. What is it that you want me to bring to the table and that we can talk about to be sure that we are clear about that? So I'll kind of give it a moment and see what you guys come up with. Shai is saying honest feedback. Okay, great. I will definitely give you very honest feedback. I will tell you what you're doing well and what you can improve upon and how you can improve upon it. That's a huge part of my job. And I think that I hope that I do it well, and I hope that I give you very personalized feedback too. So we'll start to see that at the end of week 1 with the grades and the feedback. Patrick, hey Patrick. Okay, so you expect to be challenged. I think that you will get that this month. There's some assignments that you might find, easy peasy, and some that you might like, oh man, this one really pushed me out of my comfort zone. I think that one will come in week 2. Not to scare anyone, but usually that's the one that comes up where people are a little like, wow, I didn't know that I had that in me. So I think you will definitely be challenged this month, Patrick. Shai, thank you. I'm glad you think that's awesome. So any other expectations? Is that it? Honest feedback and to be challenged. Is that all? What else you got? Okay, Ezekiel is saying presentation and organizing everything. We will definitely get into that in week 2, especially organization. Organized message is one that is easy to remember. Presentations is going to be the name of the game this month as well. Marcella, to learn not only from theory, we're going to be doing a lot of putting that theory into practice each and every week. David is asking, is anybody streaming a movie at the moment? I'm not sure if that's a question for me or everybody else. Okay, Valerie, clear instructions. These go-to sessions are going to be essential. You guys absolutely have access to the instructions in the platform, but I think sometimes that having someone explain it to you is also going to be vital. So make sure you're tuning into these go-to sessions each week. Isaiah, your expectation is for you to challenge me. Absolutely. You're the type of person where if you are not challenged, you're not engaged. I will quit because I'm bored. I don't want you to be bored, and I think the pacing of the course will also help with that, Isaiah. Understanding of students and their circumstances, social anxiety to the point of talking on the phone. Okay, Isaiah, glad you brought that up because I get it. I get that you guys are juggling a lot. I get it. There's a lot of plates, juggling up in the air. You probably have family situations, work, maybe 1, 2, 3 jobs, financial situations, health situations, just logistical situations as well. And these are all just kind of spinning around at the same time. And then some of you might have that added layer of some anxiety over that. Okay, so I get it, guys. I get it. The best thing to do is just chat with me, talk with me, be honest with me. Again, everyone is at a different spot in their journey. And some people are a little bit farther than others. Some people are, this is their second, third time repeating the course as well. So there's that kind of different layer in there. So I will absolutely be very empathetic and understanding of situations as long as I know what's going on. I'm not a mind reader. So I do ask that you chat with me, talk with me, so I know from day 1, 2, or 3 what is going on in your life. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Isaiah. I do appreciate that. Tony, learn how to actively sell your ideas and sell yourself. Tony, I'm glad you mentioned that. That is going to be your entire final project, which I will mention and go over very briefly. I don't want to over inundate anyone. In a couple of minutes. So guys, do you have any other expectations of me that you would like me to touch on before I move forward? Those are some great ones. Thank you for mentioning those and participating. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I'm not seeing any other comments in the chat box at this point. Okay, guys, so a couple more items here to mention to you. Professionalism. So I'm sure with your orientation, you are up to speed on knowing that Full Sail not only has your GPA, but you also have these GPS points. And so I'd like you guys to, as quickly as possible, complete, if you haven't already done so, the week one or the pre-work, kind of the getting started work, the professionalism activity. So once you've completed that, I will assign a grade of 100. Okay, a grade of 100 is where everyone starts with their professionalism or GPS score. So it is your job to keep it at 100 all month long. So you need to be sure that this isn't just, kind of the idea of the professionalism score is to get you in gear of how to interact and relate to people on a professional level. And this should carry out through your student journey into your careers. So absolutely, guys, in my other class, it's very, very easy to lose professionalism points. They're farther along in their time here. So again, this is a first month course. You're getting acclimated. But sometimes professionalism scores can be docked for the way that you're communicating with other students. If you're being unprofessional in the way that you're going back and forth with each other. It could be that you're not attending go-to sessions, okay? So you're not attending the lecture and things can be deducted. I don't do that for the CRP course, but there is one activity late in the course that does have an effect on your professionalism score, and we'll get into that much, much later as we move throughout the month. One other thing, if you are repeating the course, I will ask if you would please just connect with me, send me a message so that we can kind of chat about past work and how that can be incorporated, the options that you have for this course, and really kind of just coming together and making sure that we have a clear direction and path to make sure you're successful this month. Okay, guys, so that's the professionalism activity. I want you to get that completed. Once that's done, I can go ahead and assign that first 100 for you. It is worth 10% of your grade, okay? So be sure to keep it up at 100 all month long. All right, copyright. So Full Sail is a little bit different than a state-funded school. It's a for-profit college. So we have to be a little bit more careful about giving credit where credit is due and not infringing upon copyright, parameters, if you will. So there is the expectation that you guys are going to be pulling in different pieces of artwork, images, music, things like that into your presentation for this course. And you'll be doing that for other courses as well. And we would like to be sure that you guys are using images that are free of copyright infringement. Normally the go-to place that I like to send my students is a site called CompFight, and we'll talk about that much more in week 3. But you want to also be sure that you are giving credit where credit is due. So providing a citations page, it doesn't have to be a formal APA style because you have yet to take the English composition course yet. So we're not expecting that. But just an end citations page, a citation slide showing where you're pulling those images or that music, someone else's work, because you want to give them credit. Same if you guys created that image or that music, you would want someone else to give you credit as well. All right. So usually just a link to where you found that image or that piece of music will be sufficient, but you want to be sure that you are providing credit for using those items in your presentations. All right. Next one is the college level writing standards. So this one can kind of, it's interesting because some people are really, laid back about this, and then some people are really uptight about it. I think I'm kind of in the middle. So we are going to have some writing assignments. You guys will be communicating with me, and that's a great practice to start learning how to really communicate professionally with kind of that student-teacher relationship. So there's often times that I'll see messages and emails and communication from students without a greeting, without a salutation, with kind of text speak, if you will. And I would ask that you guys kind of take it to the next level and take those communication levels up a notch, because you want to be very professional in the way that you present yourself, and that's through the spoken word and the written word as well. So before sending any communication, you want to be sure you run a spell check, a grammar check, punctuation, capitalization, all of those items before submitting anything. And this is kind of the time where I usually lay it on the line and I tell my students about my pet peeve. So can any of you guess what could possibly be my pet peeve when it comes to college level writing standards? Any wild guesses out there? Sada's saying commas. No, it's not commas, but it is brevity. Punctuation. No, not there. Oscar's saying there versus there. That one doesn't drive me up the wall. This is a very small one that it just stares at me on the screen. I'll give you a couple more guesses and I'll tell you guys. And it might be your pet peeve too, but oh, it drives me crazy. Incorrect grammar usage. No. Indentation. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to tell you it's the small lowercase I all by itself. It drives me crazy. And it happens all of the time. And I think it's because of texting. But guys, just hit Shift and I, and you'll get that capital I, and he'll stand there all proud by himself. And that's how we want it to be. So you're going to start texting and see it, and you're going to be like, oh, darn it. Isaiah's saying the same. It's your pet peeve as well. So yes, guys, so I just want to point that out to you. So watch, those little things can really make a huge difference in the way you're kind of presenting yourself, again, through the written word and as well as the spoken word. Sada's saying Grammarly is a great app. I agree. If you guys want to download that, you are more than welcome to. Let's see, David, don't worry, I fix it. So, and you might see if it's happening, regularly in some of the written assignments, I might say, watch your lowercase I and put a little smiley face in there. But that is my pet peeve. And I figured I'd let you guys in on that little secret there. No big deal. It just stares at me and it drives me crazy. Okay, guys. So moving on, we'll talk about our lectures. Okay, so we're doing that right now. We're doing our lectures. It's about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Again, this is our longest one of the 4. So our online lectures are going to normally be on Tuesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know it's kind of an odd time of day, but it's really what works best for my schedule. Plus, I record all of our lectures. So let's talk about attendance here. You are not required to view the go-to session live, okay? So the 13 of you that are in here, thank you. I appreciate you taking that time out of your day to attend. It is a great way to interact, get questions answered in real time. But if you cannot make it, don't stress over it, because I record all of the lectures and I will post the recording usually within a couple of hours after the conclusion. I do get a lot of emails of students like, by 7:01, like 7:01 tonight, I'll probably have a lot of emails come in saying, I can't access the go-to session. It does take me some time to render the file and then upload it. I post it on my YouTube channel. It is unlisted. So it does take some time to do that. But once it's up there on the internet, I will send that link to you, and I will also change the go-to assignment that week from a registration link to a viewable or clickable link there. So you don't have to attend live. Don't freak out if you can't make it, or if you're registered for the session and all of a sudden you can't make it. I'm not taking attendance. However, you are responsible for this material. So be sure that you have taken the time. If you want to do it in a full 2-hour block, that's fine. If you want to do it in spurts and snippets, because I'm just droning on here, do it that way. But you are responsible for that material. Once you have watched the go-to session, if you could go back into the platform, the FSO platform, and click on the I've completed this activity button to show that you have completed the go-to session. I would appreciate that. All right, your assignments. So each week, guys, you're going to have some assignments that are due. Some of your assignments are weighted for your grade. Some of them are not, but they all are going to be assignments that need to be completed in order to be successful that week. So usually each week you'll have a major assignment, and then it might also be coupled with something a little less weighted, but just as important. So be sure that all of your assignments are completed. Oftentimes, they will start to build upon each other, especially as we move into week 2, when we start planning out your final presentation. So you don't want to skip anything, because if you skip 1 week, man, that's a lot of great information and feedback that you'll be missing out on, plus a huge gap in the points that you're able to achieve with that assignment. So don't skip anything. Make sure you're completing all of your work. Make sure you're completing it on time. All right, so submitting your assignments. All right, so everything is going to be submitted through the FSO platform. I absolutely prefer that you don't send me or email me or text me your assignments. It gets the likelihood of it getting lost is much higher if it's not in the platform. So I absolutely encourage you guys to submit all of your assignments through the FSO platform for the correct grading assignment. Okay, so if you're going to be into, like, say for week 1 is the TED Talk assignment, the 1.4, submit your 1.4 assignment there. Don't email it to me. If we have a side discussion or something is going on with technology and we've agreed to that, that's fine. But as a rule of thumb, everything needs to be submitted in FSO. All right, this is a question that I get a ton of confusion about in week number 1. So how do you get these assignments into the platform? So there's kind of like 2 options here. There's a completion area where you can just drag and drop your files, okay? And that's only going to work for files like a Word document or a PowerPoint or a PDF document, okay? You can upload that right into the platform. But a lot of you guys might be using something that's created on a website where you're not going to have a file to upload, but instead you're going to have a web link to submit. Well, you can't upload the entire internet site. You can't upload the entire site. So how do you upload your assignment if you created it online? So here's kind of the standard operating procedure with that. Say you've created something on YouTube, you've used Adobe Spark, you've used Prezi, some of these programs. You would create a Word document or a text-based document, and you would include your name and then also the link that has been provided from that website, and you would upload that Word document into the platform. That will show that you've successfully submitted the assignment, and I will open it and then follow that link to go grade your assignment. Okay, so again, you can't just drag and drop the web link in there. It's not going to show a successful submission. So that's how you would include a website as your submission, through a Word document with your name and the link included. Also, your file naming conventions. You guys are going to be creating a ton of files in the next 2.5, 3 years. So you want to start getting an organization method of how to keep your files organized and easy to find if you need them. So the correct way to name a file, and this will be consistent and true throughout your time at Full Sail, is to name it by your last name _ first name _ assignment name. So that's an example, Heaney _ Kristen _ 1.4. Okay, so that's how you'll want to name your files, and then you would upload them for submission. I will be giving you guys feedback for each and every assignment. So especially the ones where the grades are weighted. So this week you'll have the 1.3 discussion and the 1.4 TED Talk assignment, and I'll be providing you personalized feedback. Once we kind of move through the next week, through Thanksgiving, we'll start to get that coming back to you guys, and that will be done through the platform as well. So you can expect to receive personalized feedback with your grades. All right, just a couple general things to point out to you guys. So within the platform, you will have this kind of left side menu, if you will. Mine might look a little bit different. Obviously, you won't have a grading tab, but you will have an About tab, and that's where you can get some great information about our course. So if you click on that, that is where you can find the course syllabus. You can find the FSO support card and some bonus material. So the one thing I really wanted to point out to you guys is this FSO support card. So here's a copy of it. So FSO support is definitely a resource that you need to become familiar with. You guys are not out on some deserted island all by yourselves. You do have resources. You just need to figure out who to go to, when you have different problems. So FSO support is who I will more than likely guide you to, because I am horrible and horrific at anything technical. And I probably won't be helpful whatsoever. And if I can, I'll try, but if not, these are the men and women to go to who are trained in many different aspects on how to deal with issues with the platform, and some software issues as well. They're open almost 24 hours a day. I would highly suggest calling them as opposed to emailing them. Very helpful, very friendly, and oftentimes they have more of the tools that can help kind of, tap into your computer and see what's going on. I don't have the ability to do that. So if you guys do have technical issues, this is more than likely where I will guide you. If you come to me asking questions and I can't give you a quick fix on that, I'll guide you to FSO support. They are there for you as students to help you out. So just be sure that you know that that resource is available. Also, in the platform, underneath your little picture icon, which everyone will be uploading their picture tonight or tomorrow, you click on that and you click down to resources. And this is where you will find your Safari books, and that will be the 2 textbooks that we will use for this course, as well as lynda.com, and I'll show you both in a moment. So that's another great place to use your resources. You also have this area here for Connect, which I'm sure that you're getting familiar with. This is the Connect site. So there's a lot of great resources on here. There are student resources. FSO support is on here. Your student liaison links are on here. Those are all different areas that will kind of be that jumping off place. So get to know the Connect site as well. These are our textbooks. It's going to be called Resonate and Slideology. So there's 2 different textbooks when you will access those through Safari books. And again, I just showed you where to do that. So you'll want to be familiar with these 2 textbooks for our course. And then lynda.com is a wonderful resource as well, really to give you guys access to very professional, polished, well done tutorials on most things. Like if you wanted a quick PowerPoint tutorial or a Keynote tutorial, this is absolutely the place to go. You must access the Lynda site through the library in order to have that free access. So you wouldn't create a login and password on your own because people have to pay for that. But as a student, you do have free access. You just need to enter through the library and then go to lynda.com. I used one very early on in my time at Full Sail and completed a full training about Google Docs in about 1.5 hours. They provide you a certificate of completion and things like that. So it's a wonderful resource for you guys to use as students. So I'm going to pause here for a moment. We've been going about an hour, so I want to be sure that everyone is cool. Everyone, if you have questions, it's time to ask me about anything that I've covered thus far. I have a lot of things to go over too. But be sure that if you have any questions right now, just send them to me. I've got one here from Marcella. You found the Resonate online version that Duarte provides and it's free. Yeah, I think there is a multimedia, Resonate one, Marcella, that's out there, and that should be fine. But both books are going to be free. They're included in your tuition, so you don't need to go out and purchase these books. They're already provided to you through that Safari Books link. So Marcella, hopefully, that answered your question. So any other questions about what I've covered thus far? Dayanara, I see your hand is up, and I'm thinking it's about this because I don't see any other hands. Dayanara, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't even know my hand was still up.
Okay, no problem. I wanted to check on you, so I'm going to put all the hands down and I'll mute you again. Thank you.
Okay.
Oops, 1 second. Okay, guys. Ezekiel, can you do a go-to training on an app? I tried that at one point, Ezekiel. It's been quite a few months. I might actually try and do that again next month. I know they have an app, but I wasn't too successful with it. So I always do it on my MacBook because I've got so much going on. There's no way I could possibly conduct the training. So let's let's maybe give it a try next week. I know that they offer one. It won't even let you sign in. So maybe let me ask around the office and see if anyone else has any success with their students using the GoTo app. Okay, let me write a note really quick. Shai's using it right now. Okay, good to know. So maybe you two can connect and talk about that. Okay, guys. So any other questions about the material that I have covered thus far? Because I'm going to keep moving forward and talk to you guys a little bit about what to expect throughout the course, okay? So if you're like me, you want to know what you're working towards. You want to know what to expect. You want to know what's coming down the pipe here, okay? So if you don't want to get over inundated, just kind of tune out for a minute. But I want you to know what it is that our goal is. You know, what are we working towards? What's the goal here? What's the purpose of what it is that we are working towards? So I'm kind of just giving you this whole long speech about throwing everything that you know about making speeches or presentations out the window, okay? So a lot of you guys probably have some experience with making presentations from past, you know, maybe it's high school, maybe it's from the military, whatever it happens to be. So in this class, we really want you to use the creativity that's kind of just brewing in all of you and incorporate that into making professional presentations. So we're going to move towards a TED Talk style of speaking. And if you've never heard of a TED Talk, you will be familiar with them at the end of this week. But the whole idea here is that the audience is our hero, okay? And that's a huge concept of this class starting this very week. The audience is going to be the central focus of the entire presentation. So what is it that you're working towards to the end of the month? So we're going to be working and building assignments that take you to our week number 4 in your final project. And that project is going to be a 3 to 4 minute audio visual presentation where you are pitching your future self as if you were a recent graduate of your Full Sail program, and you're moving on to the next step. Okay, you're looking for employment, you're looking for clients, you're pitching yourself and your brand to a potential audience, okay? So it's going to be, again, 3 to 4 minute audio visual combined presentation that you will be creating. So you'll be researching what you will be learning about in your degree program. This is all starting next week when we'll build out the presentation plans. You'll be researching your specific audience. You'll be talking about something called the golden circle, and you'll be telling the audience about your why. You know, why is it that you're so passionate about this path and how you plan to make all of these great goals happen, and what you want your audience to do next. So we'll begin talking about that. That concept comes from a man named Simon Sinek. Also, through the delivery of a TED Talk, he coins this as the golden circle. And this will really be the focus of our week 2 lecture. And that will be the focus of your content for the final Brand Yourself presentation. So in my follow-up announcement that I will send you guys tonight, along with the GoTo recording link, I will send you a couple of student examples that you can take a look at, because this will show you what you're working towards, what you're going to be working on and creating over the course of the next 4 weeks. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I'm going to say that now. I don't want you to let this get you overwhelmed. I want it to be really inspiring for you and give you a really tangible goal and show you what it is that you're working towards. Again, it's 3 to 4 minute video presentation that will include audio, so you'll be recording your voice, delivering the message. You don't have to appear on camera, but there will be visual elements as well. So kind of similar to what I'm doing now. You have visual elements on the screen and you can hear my voice speaking, but it's only 3 to 4 minutes. It's not 2 hours. So that's kind of just a very broad overview of what you can expect to be working towards at the end of the month. David, I'm seeing your hand up, but I'm not sure if you have a microphone. David, do you want to talk over the microphone? David Martinez. Here. Yeah, I'm not seeing a microphone available, David. So if you have something, if you want to send me a message, just let me know. I see a couple others here, but I'm not sure that they pertain to the questions about the material that I was going over at that moment. But we can also chat a little bit later. So I'm going to continue to move forward. All right, guys. So this is also a wonderful time to start learning something new. All right. I've mentioned a couple of different programs, and maybe you've heard of them, maybe you have experience with them. And if not, this is a great week to kind of delve into something that is new and fresh and that challenges you a little bit. A lot of you guys are talking about wanting to be challenged earlier in our go-to session. So a lot of ones, presentation software that comes to mind is something like Microsoft PowerPoint or Keynote. You also have access to Google Slides, which is very similar to PowerPoint or Keynote. There's a wonderful program called Adobe Spark. It is free. It does, I think, produce a lot of fantastic, polished, and professional work. But it isn't going to be something that FSO support is able to provide technical assistance on. It's very user-friendly. I have a lot of students that use it and love it. But that's also one that I think might be new to a lot of you guys. So that might be one of those challenge items that you could take on that challenge and start to delve into that. Prezi is also a presentation software for free, available online. So if you want to start thinking about, some new software that you could learn in conjunction with that material, go ahead and start delving into that. So this course is all about being creative and connecting with your audience in an effective way. All right, so our textbooks, Resonate and Slideology, are written by a wonderful woman named Nancy Duarte. She's won many awards for presentation design and delivering presentations. She's the CEO of her own company. She's also done a TED Talk. So she's really successful in what it is that she does. She really helps professionals make fantastic presentations as well. So that's just a little bit about the author of our textbooks. And Marcella, I believe, was talking about the multimedia version of our textbook, Resonate. So this is the website where you can access that. It's at resonate.duarte.com. I don't think that there is one for Slideology, but you can go ahead and access the one for Resonate here at this website. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and start moving through this week's assignments. I'd like to go over these assignments in quite a bit of detail. So I'm going to go over the assignments, kind of pause for questions between each one of them, and then we'll go over a little bit of the content for the evening, and that'll kind of take us through up until 7 o'clock. All right, so here's a snapshot, if you will. I usually like to give you guys a nice, good overview of what is going on and what is expected of you throughout the week. So as you can see, this is week number 1. It's Welcome to Creative Presentation. You've got all of your 4 assignments that are required of you to complete, as well as the publish date, which is this column where it says November 20th, and the due date. This week, the due dates have been extended. Traditionally, you will see your due dates on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Because of the Thanksgiving holiday, we've extended those due dates out until Tuesday, November 28th at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so you guys have an extra 2 days to get the week 1 assignments done. And the week 2 assignments will actually be available to you on Monday of next week. So it's kind of a little bit of overlap here just for this first week, but we didn't want you guys working over the Thanksgiving break. So we wanted to give you a little extra time to complete that. One exception to the due date is right here with the 1.3 assignment. So that's kind of a 2-parter assignment, if you will. So we ask you to make an initial post and then 2 reply posts. So that initial post is going to be due tomorrow night, Wednesday, November 22nd. I'd like to have that in the platform before midnight. And I'll talk about that in much more detail in a couple moments. Otherwise, everything is going to be due November 28th, which is Tuesday of next week at 11:59 p.m. So I'm going to go over each and every one of these assignments and what's expected of you guys. So each week you will have a go-to training requirement here. All right. And this is where you will find the registration link. Right now I did a screenshot. As you can see, I put the registration link. Click here to register for our session. Once this has been completed and I have uploaded the file to YouTube, I will go back in here and change this verbiage to say, click here to watch the week 1 go-to session. And this is where you can come back and reference anything that you need to, because you have access to that. That's great, right? You know, the campus students don't have that access to see the class a couple of times and hear those explanations. So you guys use that as much as you need to if you want to revisit some of the instructions. You do have access to that link. You also need to be sure that you're clicking that you have completed that activity. So I know that you've watched the go-to training either live or through the recording. All right, the 1.2 activity is all about your reading. So this will change each week as well. Sometimes it's as easy as mark as complete, and sometimes we ask you to make just kind of a response on what it is that you've learned from the reading. But this very first week, I'm going to ask that you read in Resonate, only Resonate, chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as chapter 7, and click on the mark as completed button. Okay, that's all you need to do for the 1.2 learning activity this week. All right, so back to the 1.3. This is the first assignment that is actually weighted and applies to your overall course grade. It is 5% of your overall course grade. So this is our week 1 presentation history discussion board. And again, it's 2 parts. So the first part, which is your initial post, is due by tomorrow night, Wednesday, at by midnight. It's not going to close down on you. That will actually remain open for discussion through Tuesday the 28th. But I would like to see that you've made your initial post by Wednesday prior to kind of shutting down for a bit over the Thanksgiving holiday. After that, you will also need to make 2 reply posts to your classmates by Tuesday, November 28th at 11:59 p.m. That's when the discussion board will shut down. So I want to kind of give a general kind of comment about the discussion boards. I normally don't reopen discussion boards if someone has not posted on time, because they're meant to be interactive. They're not meant to be open and, kind of open the entire course. It is supposed to be kind of a real-time back and forth discussion to mimic a classroom lecture environment. So normally, unless there's some extenuating, huge circumstance going on, I traditionally don't reopen the discussion board. So you guys have quite a bit of time to interact with your classmates. So be sure that that's happening within those time parameters, please. All right, guys. So I would love to see you really engaging in this assignment. This is where you start to build some relationships with your classmates, okay? So what I want you to do is enter your first post, which is due on Wednesday night, and I'll show you all of the instructions for that. But I want you to have fun. I want you to engage with each other. I want you to continue the discussions. I want you to ask questions to keep these conversations going, okay? So you will see in the 1.3 history discussion that you need to write at least 1 post and reply to at least 2 students. So once you have done that, it will give you that check mark showing you've successfully completed the assignment. So this is where you will enter your own first post, which is due by Wednesday at midnight. Again, guys, just a reminder, there are 2 due dates for this assignment here. Initial post by Wednesday and reply post by next Tuesday. So let's check out the downloads for this, and this will tell you exactly what you need to discuss in your initial post, as well as the replies as well. All right, so for the initial post of the 1.3 assignment, I really want to just start to get to know your own personal history with making presentations, okay? So likely at some point in your life, you have delivered maybe a presentation in high school, or maybe some other experience in college, maybe your professional career, maybe it's been in the military. Maybe you've been on a job interview, because if you really think about that, that's just a series of small impromptu speeches right there. So you want to be sure that you are considering your own personal history with presentations in this post. So here's what it is that I would like you to include in your initial post. Now, if you've already gone in there and kind of supplied an initial post but did not touch on these particular prompts, you are able to go back and edit that initial post to be sure that you've met all the requirements. So for the initial post, all of these items in this yellow box should be addressed, okay? So explore these items. Describe your level of comfort with presentations, okay? Are you comfortable? Are you anxious? Kind of indifferent? What is it? How is it that you feel about delivering presentations? And explain to us why or why you don't have any fears about that. It is oftentimes the number one fear that many adults have is public speaking. So discuss a public speaking experience that you remember. Was it good or was it bad? What did you learn from the experience? Also, discuss a time where you've created a visual presentation using some of the programs that I just talked about, PowerPoint, Keynote, Prezi. What was the biggest challenge and what did you learn from that experience? So I am expecting you to reply to those prompts. I'd also like you to share these two items. What would you like to learn from this class, and what do you think you need to improve upon in your presentation skills, okay? So that is going to be your initial post. That is what I want you to address in the initial post that is due Wednesday night. All of those prompts, please. So that's kind of the part number one of this two-part assignment. So part number two is the 2 reply posts. Please ignore the due by midnight. I forgot to change that because normally the due date is Sunday, but we've extended that here for Thanksgiving. So the 2 reply posts are going to be due Tuesday, November 28th. All right. So you need to be sure that you are replying using something called the RISE model. I'd hate for you guys to just pop in there and say, great post. I totally understand. I can see where you're coming from. I'd like to see more depth. And that's going to be using something called the RISE model. So here's the RISE model. It's an acronym for the words reflect, inquire, suggest, and elevate. So kind of moving up this scale here. And it's really a guide to help you guys learn how to give solid feedback and solid reply posts to your classmates. So first and foremost, I'd like to be sure that you're reflecting on your classmates' original post, okay? Do you agree or do you disagree with what they've said? Do you like what they've said? Do you dislike what they've said? Next, I want you to inquire, and this is really the major step I'm looking for in your reply post. Have you asked your classmate a question? Because questions are what encourages further conversations between you guys, okay? So I'm definitely looking for the R and the I of the RISE model to happen in order for you to get full credit for the reply post, and you must make at least 2 here, okay? You can also suggest and elevate. You want to kind of take them to the next level, suggest rooms for improvement and kind of take them and elevate them up to, kind of satisfying future goals or kind of satisfying what it is that they need to raise to the next level, all right? So the R and the I are definitely required of the RISE model for the reply post. So that is what I am expecting with the 2 reply prompts for your classmates. The grading rubric. First, I want to kind of take a detour here. If your rubric looks like this when I send it back to you, I'll send it back to you as a PDF file. More than likely, you need to get the Adobe Reader. So it has these crazy circles and blank spots. It's because you don't have the Adobe Reader. So if that's happening, you need to go to get.adobe.com/reader, and your rubric will magically appear to look normal like this. Okay, so here is how I grade you guys for your assignments. There's a grading rubric for each and every assignment. That's kind of my guide to keep it consistent from each assignment and each student to the next. So there's really kind of a checklist that I'm using to see where you fall in these different areas. So for this discussion, the 1.3, there are 4 different dimensions. This is a 2-page rubric. There's 4 different dimensions that I am considering for this assignment. So the first is going to be relevance. Did you post content related to the discussion topic? Are you staying on task? Have you responded to all of the prompts listed in the instructions? Okay, so that is going to be the relevance. So if you're kind of going off topic and you're not considering the prompts that are listed, I can't give you that exemplary, which I know we're all aiming for, okay? So that would be falling under more of like an accomplished or developing, which you can see as you move down the line is a reduction in points. Rationale, I'm looking for you to use detail and specifics in your explanations throughout your discussion post. The third item here is the contribution to learning community. This is where those reply posts come into play. So if you have replied to 2 or more, I'm encouraging you to reply to more than 2 of your classmates, but at bare minimum, it must be 2. And you have used that RISE model and you're interacting and engaging with your classmates, absolutely, you'll have a 30 out of 30, okay? But if you've done a phenomenal initial post, but you haven't bothered to reply to any of your classmates, that's an automatic 30-point reduction. It's a 70 out of 100, okay? And according to Full Sail, a 70 out of 100 is D. So those reply posts are going to be important. The assignment is not complete until you have communicated and interacted with your classmates. And then lastly is the mechanics. Again, it's a writing assignment, so I'm looking for no lowercase i's all by themselves. Making sure that you've done a grammar check and a spell check and that punctuation and capitalization is all correct in here, okay? Now, guys, you know, there's things that are going to happen, and I get that. And there's things that I overlook. I'm kind of in that middle ground. I'm not super lenient and I'm not super strict. But if it is apparent that you could, you know, definitely use the help of the Full Sail Writing Center, I might recommend that to you. Please do not be upset about that. It's there to help you as well, because you want to be sure that your communications, especially the written communication, is going to be as professional as the verbal. Okay, so that is the grading rubric. I would suggest you use this as a guide or a checklist before submitting your assignments. All right, so just kind of to wrap this up before I ask if you have any questions, this is just to recap the 1.3 assignment. Again, it's 5% of your grade. Please make the first initial post by the Wednesday deadline tomorrow. Make sure you're answering all of the required questions or prompts listed in the assignment instructions. Definitely use that RISE model, especially the R and the I, the reflect and the inquire of the acronym. And then also remember your reply post. You must make at least 2. I highly encourage you to do more than that to get to know your classmates. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath and see if you guys have any questions for me about the 1.3 assignment. Patrick, I saw your message. I hope you have a good night. Ezekiel, I'm not. Training ID. Okay, yes, Ezekiel, I'm actually going to type it in here for you really quick. Okay, Ezekiel, that code is for you for the training ID. So you guys, do you have any other questions about the 1.3 assignment? Okay, Marquise, so you're typing this 1.3 on a Word document and sending it through to the FSO platform. Yes, so Marquise, let me go back a couple of slides. Oops, let me go backwards. So yes, you're going to either, where did it go? Okay, you're either going to type it in here to this section. Hopefully you're seeing a slide that says completion. So you can actually just type your post in here straight into the platform, or where it says attach file, you can create a Word document and upload it. I see most students just type their information straight into the platform, or you could create it in Word and copy and paste it. But either way will show that you've completed the initial post. And then you can go here to the go to discussion link, and that will send you into the discussion board where you can interact with your students, you can read their posts, and you can make replies as well. Does that answer your question, Marquise? Come on. Okay, guys, any other questions about the 1.3 assignment? Anything at all? Hopefully that was clear, and I am looking forward to seeing your initial post tomorrow. I do traditionally interact with you guys within the discussion board, so you'll probably be seeing some of my comments as well. I might ask you questions, so be sure you're interacting and checking on those discussion posts on a daily basis. So any more questions before I move on to the 1.4 assignment? Great, Marquise, I'm glad to hear that. Marcella, the rubric. Yes, I can take you back to that screenshot. Hold on one second. Okay, Marcella, the rubric is 2 pages. So this is the first page. And this is also a PDF within the platform where the instructions were. You have access to the rubric as well. But when this comes back to you guys, it will have your name on it and your grade. So it will be personalized to you, but I highly suggest that you've got my grading criteria right in front of you. So if you have things that are missing from that exemplary category and I can't justify it, then I'm unable to kind of assign that exemplary grade. So be sure that before you turn it in, you go, okay, check, 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 check. I've got everything that she's looking for an exemplary file or exemplary assignment. But if it's clearly not there, then I can't assign that particular category for the assignment. But you do have access to all of the rubrics within the platform as well. Any other questions? Okay, if something comes up, guys, we can absolutely address it at the end of our session tonight. But I want to move forward to your main assignment this week, which is the 1.4 professional presentation analysis. This is 15% of your overall course grade. So this is really kind of the bulk of where your energy will go this week. This assignment is due on Tuesday, November 28th. At 11:59 p.m. And we call this one the TED Talk assignment. Okay, so as I mentioned before, if you're not familiar with TED Talks, you're going to be after the end of this week. So let's check out the downloads here. So this is all about becoming the audience this week, okay? Because we want to figure out what is it that audience is looking for. And you can't really know what your audience is going to be looking for when you're the speaker until you've sat in their seat, okay? So the focus here is really to be an audience member by viewing a couple of TED Talks. Have you guys heard of TED Talks? Do you think you've seen one before, maybe in a past class? Say yes. Hopefully you listen to the podcast. So there's a lot of yeses coming through. If you have not ever seen a TED Talk, it's a fantastic database, in essence, that provides you really professionally completed talks that are about 20 minutes long at maximum about any topic you could probably imagine. So you would go to the TED.com website, and you guys have the ability to choose any 3 TED Talks that you would like to analyze for this assignment, okay? So if you aren't familiar with it at this point, have no fear, you will be. It might take a little bit of time to just kind of get acclimated to the TED site. Really, it's just kind of searching a database, and if you're interested in photography, you could find some about that. I love the TED Talks about communication. Those are the ones that engage me. But there are a couple that I see month after month that really speak to students. So this is not going to be, really pigeonholed here. It's just kind of a guideline for you guys, and you can take this in several different directions if you wish to. I really want you to choose TED Talks that captivate you, that really speak to you, especially with the content. Also, I would also like this assignment submitted as one cohesive whole document. So you can use any program that you are familiar with, or this might be a great time to challenge yourself and venture into a new program that you've never used before. And I'll show you an example of what this will look like. I'll show you a student example at the end of our discussion here. So let's get into the instructions. Isaiah's saying you already have 3 in your head already. You watch too many of them. I know it can be a little bit addictive, but if you want to keep moving on through them, I'm absolutely thrilled about that. Okay, guys, so here's the instructions for this assignment, okay? I want you to watch a minimum of 3 different TED Talks, which are located at the website TED.com. And overall, we're trying to find the answer to the question, what is it that makes a presentation effective, creative, captivating, and or inspiring? So that's what this whole analysis is all about. So when you're watching your 3 TED Talks, I want you to consider these prompts, and these prompts should be addressed in the analysis that you will make. This is a 3-step assignment. There are 3 very particular steps that you must complete here. So this is really step 1. This is the written analysis portion of the assignment, and then I'll go over steps 2 and 3 on the next slide. But I'm asking you to make an analysis, not a summary, okay? I don't want you to summarize the content. I want you to focus on the execution of the presentation. How are they making this presentation powerful or moving? Or why was this presentation powerful or moving? Let these questions guide you. Why did you like this presentation? Or maybe you didn't like the presentation, but tell me why. Was it the content alone, or was it the way that the speaker delivered that content? What exactly made the content appealing? How did the speaker draw you in to care about the subject or the topic, kind of tapping into that emotional aspect here? What did you get out of the presentation that you would not have experienced reading an article about the topic? And lastly, what kinds of emotions did the presenter elicit? How did they do this? So guys, really, as you're watching these 3 different TED Talks, be sure that you're able to answer all 6 of these prompts within each analysis, okay? So you're going to do 3 different analyses for 3 different TED Talks, all right? So they should really be kind of sectioned out. Again, I will show you an example in a moment. So that is step 1. Watch 3 different TED Talks and complete an analysis following these prompts for each of the talks. Step number 2, I want you to create a document for this assignment and include supporting visual imagery, all right? So you must include some images for each of the TED Talks. Oftentimes I will see students take a quick screenshot of the speaker in action, or it might be some kind of image that really enhances the content of the presentation, okay? So you need to be able to include visual imagery as well. Step number 3, and this is the one that tends to confuse a lot of students and gets left out. So be sure that you're completing all 3 steps. Step number 3 is a comprehensive list of 10 qualities, techniques, or presentation skills that made your presentation inspiring, captivating, creative, and effective, okay? So one comprehensive list of 10, and I want you to support each of these qualities using examples from the TED Talks that you have watched, okay? So that's steps 1, 2, and 3 of this assignment. So don't just make a list. I also want to see on that list supporting detail and example coming from the TED Talks that you are viewing, all right? So I'm going to show you guys a quick example. Give me one moment here and let me just pull up the example I have ready for you. Okay, can you guys see, it's a PDF document by Marisol Rodriguez. Are you guys seeing that on your screen? Hopefully you are. Are you seeing that? Thank you guys, absolutely. Okay, let me pull this down just a tad bit. All right, so Marisol was in my, gosh, March or April class. She did a phenomenal job, and I asked her, Marisol, would you mind if I use this as just a wonderful example to show future students? And she said, absolutely, I don't mind. So I have her permission to show you guys this. Please be respectful of her creative work. Use this as a guide. Do not use this as your own analysis or information. That's considered plagiarism, and that is something that is absolutely not tolerated. So again, use this as a guide to move you through and use an example for this assignment. She did a thorough job, A+ work. All right, so this is her first analysis. As you can tell, it is, for the majority of it, a writing assignment, but she has included the analysis on the left side of the screen. She's very thorough, and she focuses on the execution of the presentation. She can include, and you can include, some summary information as well, but be sure that the focus really is on how the speaker delivered the information and how the speaker connected with the audience. So this is all about your brain on video games. So instead of doing a screenshot, she chose to use an image of, a video game controller here. And she went a step further and included a quote coming from the TED Talk. Definitely fulfilled the requirements there. So that's step number 1 and step number 2 in action, okay? So she did this another time for one more, her second TED Talk. This one is all about, can you tell if a kid is really, or can you really tell if a kid is lying? And so, of course, she uses an image of a child, and then she uses a quote. She's staying with consistent formatting. She's got a thorough analysis, very vibrant, high-resolution image to enhance the content as well. So that's her second TED Talk. Third TED Talk is about addiction. So these are all very different TED Talks, as you can see. So she talks about addiction as disease. We should treat it like one. She's got a fantastic, powerful image of someone being chained to a bottle, talking about alcoholism. So she's got a wonderful analysis here, kept the consistency and the formatting, images large, crisp, and clear. She's done a fantastic job on steps 1 and 2. Here's how to do step 3. So she's got her 10 qualities of good presentations. She's got it laid out wonderfully, very clearly organized. She's talking about captivating visuals and how a specific presenter has used these elements within their presentation. She's gone a step further and added a small icon as well to enhance this portion. So she's got 4 items here. Scroll down, she's got 4 more. And then her final 2 on the last page. You can see that's one comprehensive list of 10. This is one cohesive document going through all 3 steps of this assignment. So guys, again, use this as a wonderful guide on how to complete exemplary work for this particular assignment, okay? I will send this and one more example to you guys in my follow-up message as well. So you will have access to this in my follow-up message that I'll send later this evening. So any questions at this point about the 1.4 assignment before I go over the grading rubric? Anything that you would like me to clarify about the TED Talk assignment? Any questions? Not at this point. I'm not seeing anything just yet. Okay, guys, so here's the rubric. It is, again, a 2-page rubric. There are 5 different dimensions that I'm looking for. The first is going to be the content. Are you meeting all of the project requirements? Have you completed all of the steps, 1, 2, and 3? Critical thinking, you need to be sure that you're providing depth and detail and that you have considered all the prompts and you're pulling your detail from the TED Talks as well. You're supporting your findings. Relevance. I'm looking for you guys to be very explicit about pulling content that's directly related to the course materials from the books, from the lectures, from the articles, and some of the concepts that we're learning about this week, especially with the concept of the audience being the hero of the presentation. These last 2 pages have to do with your mechanics, your college level writing standards. So be sure you've run that spell check and grammar check. And the last is going to be the delivery, and that has to do with the visual components. Are they enhancing the main points of the presentation? Again, you can use a screenshot, or like Marisol did, she found images that would enhance the content of that presentation. Okay, so if you don't include the images, that's a 15-point reduction, in addition to not following all of the project requirements, okay? So be sure that you are completing all 3 of the steps of the TED Talk assignment. So I'll pause here for a moment before we enter this last phase of our lecture here. Questions or clarifications? Hopefully no complaints. Okay, I've got 2 here. Okay, Isaiah, do we need to use a specific font for text, such as Times New Roman, or can we use whichever? I am not going to limit you on the text that you're using. If you want to use a more creative font or text, I'm open to that. My question is that if you were an audience member, if you were on the receiving end of this assignment, is it clear? Or is it something that's very difficult to read? So you always want to be sure that your message and your assignment is able to be received and absorbed easily by your audience. So you're not limited to Times New Roman, but I do suggest you use a font that is easy to read. For me, on this end here. Marquise, everything on the 1.4 will be posted in detail on the site before it's due. So Marquise, the information that I just went over with the instructions is already within the platform, okay? It's going to be one of those PDFs. The PDF of the rubric and the instructions are posted within the 1.4 assignment. And then in the follow-up message, I will also send you that student example as well as one more example that looks a little bit different. So it shows you how this assignment can be kind of very different with the exact same instructions. So hopefully that answers the questions there. Again, it is due November 28th. You guys have a little extra time this week. That is Tuesday. So be sure that you get that in before Tuesday. Any other questions on this week's assignments before we get into some content tonight? Questions, clarifications, anything at all? All right, well, if something comes up, we can address it at the end of our session. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about our textbooks and a little bit of the content, especially when it comes to the audience, this evening before we break. So we've picked these great textbooks from Nancy Duarte, which are called Resonate and Slideology. So as I told you at the very beginning of our session, come from a more traditional college setting, and I'm sure you can imagine that the textbooks that I've always been accustomed to prior to Full Sail are actually kind of boring. But I was very happy to see that wasn't the case with Duarte's books, okay? So I will also include her highlight reel in my follow-up message, so you can kind of see her in action as well. But she does a great job of delivering her information, and she does that by telling a story, all right? So storytelling is going to be another huge concept of our class. And so how does she do this? How does she deliver this information? She talks about the audience as the hero and the central focus of the presentation. And this may be a very, very different thought process than you've ever been through before. So that might be a shift here. We might have always thought that us as the presenter is the main focus, the central focus. And that's a lot of pressure on us. It's a lot of pressure. So we need to shift a little bit and put a lot of that focus on how are we going to connect with the audience? The audience should be that spotlight central focus. She also targets story structure, okay? A very simple beginning, middle, and end, an organizational structure that is easy to follow. When we get into week 2, we'll get into slideology, and it's all about the slide aesthetics, how to make those slides pretty and visually appealing and easy to absorb and impactful for the audience. It's how to best deliver an information when it comes to using a visual aid. So the chapters this week are really going to give you mostly overview information, and then we'll get into more specifics as we start building out the presentation plans next week. So let's talk a little bit about change. So how many of you guys like change in your life? Who likes change and who hates change? I don't know about change at this point. I'm getting set in my ways as I get older. So who likes change? Marcellus, you love them. Okay, great. Well, then you will absolutely thrive in your industry. Marquise, same thing. You love it. So sometimes, though, we get complacent. We get comfortable, right? I guess it depends on the change. Dianara is 50-50. So some of us really don't like it because change can be scary. Change can be unknown. You don't know what's going on. Oscar's saying, meh, it happens. Right. It's the only constant in life. But the point I'm trying to make here is that companies that learn to thrive on the chronic flux or the chronic change that's happening around them are the ones that kind of end up on top. And I'm going to give you an example, going back to my childhood in the good old 80s and the 90s, about 2 companies, and one that is no longer and one that is standing strong because of change, okay? So back in my day, the Friday night activity would be go down to your local Blockbuster on the corner with your little blue and yellow card and rent your VHS tape, and you'd rent a movie for the weekend, and that's how we absorbed media oftentimes, a lot of times with movies, right? That's how it was done. And then all of a sudden this company called Netflix comes out of nowhere, and they start with this, at-home delivery service. They would send DVDs through the mail, and you'd watch them and you'd return them. And at one point, Blockbuster had offers to purchase Netflix and declined to do so. So it shows that the company like Blockbuster, and there's many, many, many examples of this out there. I'm just kind of picking on this one because I think a lot of us can relate to these. But Blockbuster really couldn't mesh and move with the changes that were coming through the way people absorbed media. Okay, so who is standing tall at this point in the end of 2017, and who is no longer in existence? It's Netflix, right? Netflix was the one that started kind of seeing the future and seeing how people were changing the way that they absorb their media. And now we use Netflix as a verb. I'm sure a lot of you know what we're talking about here. And poor Blockbuster is just a relic of the past, okay? So you guys, as human beings, kind of on this very beginning of your journey of being humans and students and at this educational journey, must be willing to take risks, because risks are at the foundation of your creative results. So you need to make those continual shifts. You really need to go back and reevaluate and say, what is it that I should have done differently to be more successful in order to continue to move forward on your path? So really embrace change. Understand that it is the only constant happening, and those industries that thrive on it, that really can run with the change, are going to thrive through that. So that's kind of the tale that I wanted to tell about Blockbuster and Netflix as well. So let's talk about what are some of the elements that are needed to tell a good story, right? If you think about it, stories are what connects us. Stories are what we remember about our connections with people and times in our life. So what elements are needed? Of course, there's going to be that very basic beginning, middle, and end, all right? We need to have a beginning, a middle, and end for everything that we're doing, especially when it comes to presentations. We need to be organized, because an organized message is one that is going to stick and resonate with your audience. But what else do we need to make a memorable story? All right, what makes a story interesting? So you guys tell me some elements of a story that should be included when it comes to your own presentation. What is it? So Marcella, is a climax. Absolutely. You have to build to something. You have to be moving towards something that is the huge part of the story. So a climax. Absolutely. What else? What else is the element? A conflict. Absolutely. So there has to be something to where that hero kind of conquers that conflict and moves forward. All right. There also has to oftentimes hopefully be resolution to that conflict. What else is there in a successful story at its core? A protagonist, absolutely. Emotion. Marcella, right, absolutely. So all of these different items are going to be things that are included in your own story and the way that you relate and identify with your audience. So Isaiah is saying the ability for the author or the presenter to give the audience enough information that the audience can see the picture and that the author has in his or her head. Absolutely. So clear, vivid, emotionally charged language to connect with that audience. It has to be specific, and you have to guide them down that path as their hero. Okay, so that's absolutely true. You need to have identifiable structure, identifiable characters, a buy-in, or an intrigue of some sort. Okay, so guys, remember that at its core, you need to have this basic structure, organization, but there also needs to be some of those great elements that we just talked about here in the session. So let's talk about our poor, sweet audience, all right? So again, I've said that the audience is our hero a couple of times, and I'm sure at some point or another, and hopefully you're not feeling this way right now, maybe you felt trapped as an audience member. Have you guys ever felt trapped, like you cannot escape? This is the worst presentation ever. I'm sure you have at some point or another. And if you guys say right now, I'm going to be very upset. So this is absolutely the feeling that you want to avoid for your audience member. You don't want to trap them and feel like they can't get away. All right. That's the last thing that you want to do. Remember that they are the hero. They are the focus, and you should be engaging them in every aspect of the presentation, from the beginning to the very end, okay? So we want to be sure that our presentations aren't boring, that they're exciting, that they fulfill the needs of the audience. So we have 4 different types of audiences to consider or encounter when making presentations. So the first type of audience is going to be a very friendly audience, right? This is the one that we all want, the one we all hope for. If we're ever on a stage in front of a large group of people, we hope that they're smiling and happy to see us and not a hostile audience like we'll talk about in a moment. But that's the one that we absolutely love, but it's not always going to be a guarantee. So think of speakers like Tony Robbins or Dave Ramsey. People pay a lot of money to see them. So of course that's going to be a friendly audience, all right? So that's going to be the easiest to relate to, is to really just keep going back to fulfilling what it is that they came to hear you speak about, all right? You're fulfilling those needs. Might also have someone called an apathetic audience, okay? And this might be an audience that just doesn't care about your topic, okay? So the goal here in relating to this type of an apathetic audience is to find out and communicate why your information that you are delivering would be important and valuable to them. Okay, so find out that why connection. A third type of audience might be an uninformed audience, all right? They might not have any prior knowledge about your topic, so you kind of need to understand that and maybe start from the basics and move forward from there. You don't want to talk over and above the audience because you'll lose them, all right? So you might need to go back to the basics, get the grasp of, just kind of the fundamentals of what it is that you're speaking about, and then move on to the more advanced topics and details, okay? So that might be uninformed. So you definitely want to bring them back to where we are all of the same understanding. Our last type of audience is the hostile audience, and nobody wants to have a hostile audience, I promise you, but it happens, right? We saw a year ago many hostile audiences when it came to the whole political election, and that's carried through for this entire year, right? And I don't want to go into the whole politics of it, but that is an example of a hostile audience that you may see. Maybe one political party is in attendance at a different political party's rally of some sort, so there's going to be some hostility there. The goal when you have a hostile audience is to find common ground, okay? Something that you can agree upon, possibly come to an agreement about an issue, and then pose your potential solutions after establishing that common ground. So you guys, you're going to have and encounter all of these different audiences at some point, right? But the goal is to connect. Figure out the way to speak to them and connect with them. And the more that you know about your audience in advance, the better you're able to do that. All right, so also, when you're thinking about your audience, think of what it is that you need to do with research prior to delivering your information. Okay, again, the more that you know about your audience, the better you can tailor your entire presentation to suit their needs. So let's talk a little bit about getting to know your particular audience, okay? And so I'll talk to them and refer to the audience many times as our hero, okay? So the relationship between the speaker and the audience is really a mentor-hero relationship, okay? So the presenter, the speaker, is going to be the mentor. They share the knowledge and the experiences, and they give the roadmap to success. The mentor is the one that is going to plant that seed, okay? The audience is the hero. They're going to go and fulfill the mission and follow the steps and actually accomplish the goals. They will be the ones that do the work and take the message to the next step. Think about it. The mentor is planting the seed to either vote for a candidate, buy a product, join a team, all sorts of possibilities. The hero or the audience is the one that is carrying out that particular mission. So in this class for right now, I'm going to be the mentor. I'm providing the tools and the wisdom for creating an effective presentation. And you guys are my heroes. You're my audience, and you guys are going to be the one that does the work and that stays accountable all month, and you're turning in your assignments and you're receiving feedback. And then the tables will kind of turn, and you will become the mentor in your final project, okay? And guide the audience into doing something as a result of your presentation. In this case, for the final presentation, you're asking them to connect with you, to hire you on as an employee or a client. Okay, so you're going to all of a sudden shift and become that mentor. So I want to stress that right now, you guys are not the hero, okay? You are the hero, excuse me. The hero is the audience member, and you guys right now are my audience, okay? And there's some things that I need to consider when tailoring and adapting my message to suit your needs, okay? And I want to give you some things to consider that you will think about as you're moving into the phase of becoming the mentor yourself. So here are some things that I consider when tailoring my message to you. I usually think about my students, okay? You guys are my students. You're going to be my students for the next month. And I need to think about you. What is your lifestyle like? More than likely, your lifestyles are very busy. You're juggling several responsibilities all at once, careers, family, education, all of that. And it's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. I need to think about your knowledge level, okay? What do you already know about our topic that we're talking about? Where do you get your information from? I'm assuming that most of you have had some presentation experiences, but you're feeling that you need guidance and encouragement and direction in becoming a better presenter. I also need to think about what are some of your motivations and desires. More than likely, your motivation right now is to complete your degree program with success. Okay, that's why you're here. You're not just wanting to meander around and be in college for the next 10 years. You're on a very specific track and path to completing your education. Your values, what's important to you? More than likely, your value system comes from your friends, your family, and your career, and also higher education as well. Your influences, what is it that influences you? More than likely for you guys, it's going to be someone in the arts that's inspired you at some point. Okay, you're at a very creative college, so it's going to be someone very artistic that has been an inspiration to you. And also respect. How do you give and receive respect? Okay, more than likely for many of you, that is through listening and showing empathy. All right, so those are some things that I consider when connecting with you, when communicating with you, when moving through the course with you. You're my audience, you're my hero, right? You're my heroes. So I need to think about all of these things going on behind the scenes so that I'm not just giving some blanket message that will apply to everyone. I need to sometimes tailor my message to meet your needs. Okay, so those are some things to think about for your own relationship with your own audience. All right, so relating to your audience, you really want to think about items that make your audience tick. Really imagine them as individuals that want one-on-one time with you. They share one thing in common. Your audience is going to share one thing in common. They are there for you. So you need to deliver a message that is for them. So find out everything you can about your audience to create an effective message. All right, so I love this quote here because oftentimes my students have a little bit of struggles trying to figure out who their audience is for the final presentation. But I like when you break it down and kind of compare it some way. Designing a presentation without an audience in mind is like writing a love letter and addressing it to whom it may concern. You would never write a love letter to whom it may concern. It's written to a very specific person with very specific, emotions involved and situations and memories and nostalgia involved, okay? So you want to do the same for your own particular audience. Tailor it to meet their needs. And how do you do that? You kind of want to segment the audience a little bit. Think about some things that could kind of make that audience stand out a bit. You might want to talk about some demographics, all right? Demographics. And it might go beyond that kind of generalized age, sex, income, education level, things like that. But a great place to start and learn about your audience is to learn about the culture of that company, especially when it comes to the brand yourself presentation. Learning about the culture of the company, because companies are very different culture-wise. So that might tell you quite a bit about your audience. You might want to look into some special interests of your audience. The time and the location can also be a big factor. And then the attitude of your audience. All right, we talked about apathy or being uninterested or being hostile. Learning all of that beforehand can be very, very valuable. So you want to do a little bit of segmenting and divide your audience up as best you can. All right, guys. Also, meeting the mentor. So we've talked about the heroes being our audience. So let's talk about the mentor or the presenter for a moment, which is where you are going to strive to be towards the end of the month. So I like analogies. So when you guys eventually become the presenter, you're doing the brand yourself presentation at the end of the month. Think of yourselves as a GPS system. So what does a good GPS system do? It gets us to our destination. It gives us directions. It provides a specific path to arrive at that final destination. So you as the mentor are going to become that GPS system, okay? You're going to be providing the guidance and the confidence and the necessary tools, all right? So that's my job to do that now. So in turn, you can do that for your own particular audience, all right? So that's kind of that shift that will be happening. Again, right now, you guys are my heroes, and I'm providing all of that. I'm the GPS, hopefully leading you down a very specific path and direction for success. And then we'll kind of flip those tables, and you guys will become the mentor for your own audience as well. So that's about it for the content for tonight. I wanted to leave some time here at the end to address any questions that you guys might have, anything that I can address about the course in general or the assignments. Again, guys, remember, and I think this was a question that came up a couple minutes ago and someone answered it for me. Thank you. The 1.3 initial post is the only item that is due tomorrow night. Everything else is due next Tuesday, November 28th. So thank you for those that answered that for me. So I wanted to leave some time to let you guys address anything with me. I'll stay in here for a while. If you don't have any questions or any comments, you're absolutely free to go. And we will meet next week, next Tuesday at our regular time of 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys don't have any questions, you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful Thanksgiving. And if not, I am here for a couple of minutes if you wanted me to address any questions, but I'm going to go ahead and cut off the recording. So you guys have a great night.